Call to order the May 6, 2026 Fishers Plan Unit Development Committee meeting. We do have quorum, all of us here today. And Drew's not here. We have one agenda item, PUD dash 26 dash I, Leo Saxony, 13640 East 131st Street. A consideration of a site plan and architectural approval for the 234 unit Leo Saxony single family for rent homes, clubhouse, and associated structures. And we have Ross Hillary for the staff to present for us.
Yes, thank you, Chair. For the record, Ross Hillary, Planning and Zoning for the City of Fishers. Before you today is the Leo project, PUD 26-1. Here is the project location. This does span two large parcels. The northern parcel is along East 136, Minden Drive on 134th, and the southern parcel is located along East 134th, Saxony Boulevard, and 131st Street. The property is currently zoned PUD-M, which is part of the Saxony PUD, which was approved in 2001. There's been multiple updates and text amendments to that you guys are aware of. It is also part of the I-69 overlay district. From a comp plan perspective, this area is known as the regional mixed use. Staff believes that this residential product with the adjacent residential products is a good use. This is part of a larger redevelopment project in partnership with Republic Development, which we anticipate bringing forward in the upcoming months to this committee. The project is currently going through the City of Fishers TAC process for a secondary plat and then improvement location permit. Here is the site plan. There is one correction. So this is for 236 units. This is again for rent, which includes single family and duplex cottages. Again, this is the overall site plan. I will zoom in here. So this is that northern parcel. Both sites have internal private drives. They also face existing public roads, and they both have shared internal green spaces. The numbers in letters all tie back to the letters that are associated with the home elevations, as well as the color palette. So the developer is proposing 19 home elevations, including a clubhouse, pool house, and maintenance shed, which we will show you tonight. The color palette is included in the PUD packet. So the developer is proposing a 21 color scheme color palette. No home adjacent to each other will have the same color palette. Example on the right, it's kind of hard to see. I'll zoom in. This is an example of one of their color schemes that shows the roof color, the primary color, and secondary colors. There are 21 of those included in tonight's packet. A lot of elevations here, so we can go back to any of these. I do want to go through each one of them to show you those. The number associated on the slide is how many of those home elevations, or in this instance, the clubhouse that we anticipate on this development. So we will see one clubhouse here. That is a clubhouse for the people who live in this area, as well as a centralized male location. This particular elevation has a metal roof on it, which is different than the rest of the elevations. They will have one pool house. They will have one maintenance shed. They will have 6 garages throughout the development, which looks like this. Now we are moving into the home elevations. So we have both the regular elevation, and then we requested from the developer a real rendering. So those are included as well, and I've combined them on this slide for you. So we anticipate this H duplex. So you can see here that there's an entrance on 2 different sides for the units. There's no garage in this instance. We anticipate seeing 30 of these across the development. We have the I duplex, again, front doors on different sides. This one has a masonry material included. We anticipate seeing 4 of these. We have our first stacked duplex. So you can see here in the rendering that there would be a unit on the first floor as well on the second floor, and the elevation is there. We anticipate seeing 5 of the L stacked duplex. We have some of our cottages that are singular and some that are connected with a duplex. So we anticipate seeing 2 of these M cottages with garages. The garage is in the rear. We anticipate seeing 21 of these R cottages with garages. Christian actually went on site to the Leo property that is in Carmel, and when these are connected, we typically are not seeing 2 R cottages next to each other connected. We will see an R and a different one, which I thought was a unique instance. Similar to this picture is kind of what I was alluding to. Again, you'd have 2 of these cottages connected together, not with the same elevation. We anticipate seeing 19 of the S cottage with garage. Again, the garage would be in the rear. This is our new J elevation duplex. We anticipate seeing 3 of these. This is our new K elevation. We again anticipate seeing 3 of these elevations. Both these products are products that, again, Christy and I saw at the Carmel location and looked good. We have our E stack duplex, which we anticipate seeing 4 of. We have our N row house without a garage. We anticipate seeing 8 of those. We also have an N row house with garage, which we are anticipating seeing 5 of those. All of these, at staff's request, and as well as the developer bringing forward, have a covered porch or a covered patio in the front. And then on the rear, anywhere where there is a door, there is a covered area. We anticipate seeing 12 of the T townhouse. So there are 2 units there. Anticipate seeing 8 of the Q row house. 7 of the Q row house without garage. Again, rear entry garage. 4 of the F stacked duplex. Again, 1 unit on the first floor and 1 unit on the second floor. 4 of the E stacked duplex. 3 of the G stacked duplex. 11 of the X row house. And then 10 of the O row house. This is one as well that they've worked with staff from a masonry standpoint. Staff has worked with this developer for several months, so we feel like we are in a really good spot. I would love for the committee's feedback tonight to give any additional direction. Both the developer is here from Leo, and then Bill Butts, their engineer. I do have 2 staff recommendations. You can see here an elevation of the rear of what several of these different home elevations next to each other would look like. We have 2 items that we'd like to bring forward to you as a recommendation or as a condition tonight. We really focused on both sides of these elevations are important. So we have a front side that is typically along the public right-of-way and a rear side that is on a private street. So both sides are important as residents will enter either side as well as their guests. So we believe that any fences that are within this development should be 3 to 4 feet in height and should be an open non-privacy fence similar to like a black aluminum. We included that in our staff report. The petitioner is aware of that request. Our second one, we went through earlier this week and we passed along with to the committee the landscape plan. That's part of the improvement location permit. They are meeting the numbers required for our landscaping plan, but staff does feel that a lot of the landscaping is heavy on the public right-of-way side. And so we asked when we go back through this review that we have foundation plantings of at least 4 shrubs planted within 20 feet of the foundation facing the private street. Because again, staff believes that both sides are important. So happy to answer any questions. Again, Scott is here from Leo and Bill Butts, the developer or the engineer.
Don't call me a developer, please.
Yeah.
We also have Casey.
Oh, yes, Casey.
Our architecture department.
Thanks,
The end
Ross.
of staff.
Yeah. Any questions for the staff right now? Thanks, Ross. We'll hear from the petitioner.
I have no comments. We've been working with Ross, like I said, for the past several months. I think the product that the CAT has produced is some of the best product that we're building. They have improved on what we're building at Carmel. I think it's gonna be a beautiful development. Can't wait to get started.
Just give us your name for the record.
Oh, sorry, Scott Weathers, Avenir Word Development. Do you need my address?
No.
He wrote it down.
Yeah.
I guess, Ross, one quick question, just again, the nuts and bolts guy. On the 4 shrubs on the back side.
Yep.
I assume you would want those outside the fence? Or you want them inside the fence up against the building, or I just want to make sure we know where.
The standards just say 20 feet from the foundation. We would like them as close, preferably on the outside of the fence.
Okay. Well, and yeah, that's what I wanted to ask, because, when you have a fence and you end up with patio furniture or whatever out there, putting them up against the house, I think the general public's probably not going to see them. To where if we put it out in front of the fence or along the sides of the fence or something, maybe, I think it's 20 feet. I don't think any of those patios are that.
Well, and I think the recommendation was was it for around the whole house or just the frontage?
The private street frontage.
The back frontage is the way I.
And where,
There were
so
no plantings on the
the
private street side.
non-garage units to have plantings on the outside of the fence.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and I wanna,
And could I ask one more question on that? Would something like if we did, I can't think what it's called, it's like a flowering vine on that, would that be something that would be,
It would need to be planted in the ground, and I wouldn't anticipate anything to grow on the
Okay.
fence. So if you wanted to plant some sort of arbor or something, but growing the landscaping on the fence would not be something.
okay, so just a shrub. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
4 shrubs outside of the little patio fenced-in area within 20 feet of I'll call it the back side of the house.
For the units that do not have a garage.
Don't have a garage.
Yeah, our fences are generally about 10 feet in depth, so that's about where we'll be.
Like,
yeah, so with the landscaping and doing like Google drive-bys, driving through this neighborhood, and there's lots of different product types. And when Christy and Ross were kind of reviewing and even going back through the renderings that you guys provided for the 3D renderings, there's a lot of variation between the amount of landscaping that you're showing in some of those areas that's really, really dense and like has a great like frontage with it. But some of them don't. And so even like this is Saxony Boulevard and 131st Street. Like one of the conditions that I'm going to recommend is that we have further conversations about our landscaping plan. So like a lot of the treatments around these townhomes, it's these boxwoods that are up against there with like additional planting beds on that side. And so given, yes, it's a multifamily development, but it's supposed to feel like a neighborhood. I still think that getting clarification on what that landscaping looks like and making sure that it matches the adjacent development is something that'll still be important for me. So that was my primary comments.
Be happy to continue that comment, sorry.
Yeah, no, I know for our board chair,
Sure.
we keep, if other members have questions.
Hey, Sean?
I think generally I like the overall concept of the development. I think there's obviously a need for housing, and I like that there's the opportunity for something with less density than an apartment building. I'm a little concerned with some of the materials on some of the buildings relative to the rest of Saxony. The ones that don't have any brick on them, for example, I think would be fairly inconsistent with, there might be a few houses in Saxony that don't have any brick, but I think that for the most part, they all at least have that kind of base of brick around them, if not the entire front of them or something like that. So I think, especially the ones that are kind of facing the public streets, I think that the importance of that being more elevated to the context, kind of to Megan's point of being consistent with the context of what's around them would be important. you know, maybe the internal ones that are not as visible, maybe I guess I could be open to suggestions or sways of opinion on that, but I just think that the elevation of that material would be something that I would like to see.
I think the areas that masonry is included, I think most of them stop at like the water table.
And I think that that would be sufficient. I think that, you know, and obviously it helps with maintenance of buildings too, you know, just long-term as well.
Thanks, Sean.
So I don't disagree with Sean. I think certainly along the public streets where we're at. I'm just trying to figure out, we've got some private streets right on the middle. Which way do these things face? So what's to the backside of the public street?
Yeah,
What-
great question. So, on here, you have, this is our private, our public.
Right,
road.
right.
So the front of the homes all face here. This is what I'm considering this private
Okay,
street. That is the back.
that's the back,
So we have a common green area here, which
Okay.
should be the front of these units
right?
as they share and create a.
So they're either gonna go into a garage or they're gonna go into some surface parking area and then
Behind.
walk around the building and go in front.
Or access their unit through.
So they could walk around to the front, but or they could either walk around to the front,
Right.
enter a gate in their backyard and go through the backyard,
Right.
or enter their house through the garage.
So basically, along the public street areas, those are all the frontages that we saw represented in the picture. Okay,
Yes.
that's a good answer. Okay, I still don't, the landscaping plan which was sent out was, and I worked for an architect, I didn't understand it at all. Just didn't understand anything I saw. So it needs to be better represented. Now, I'm not an architect, so like I say, I am. I just run an architecture department. So, the other thing is, if we go back to some of those renderings, Ross, if you just go one way or the other, I can tell you which one. Okay. 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 That one,
And I think there was another stacked duplex that
it's coming behind it. Where you're showing, is one, keep going, one more. It's the ones with the staircases that are going out in front of the house. That one just bothers me. I don't know that, I've seen those, and, because I'm a New England kid, so I've been through a lot of row houses, I've been through a lot of stacked, I've been through a lot of, what I would call dense urban areas where they've got to really pin that in and kind of go, but seeing a staircase going up off the front end of the house is problematic for me. To just be really honest with you. I've seen them when they're doing that back east because of my mom. We had to put my mom in a rental. So, and there was a staircase because she had to go upstairs, but it was enclosed in part of the building. It just showed an interior staircase, because winter back in Connecticut also made some sense. So it gave you that house frontage there going on there. So that one I would love to see removed just because I don't like the outside staircase. I think it's weird. I mean, if it's coming across the backside, I would have probably less problems with it. But if that's the frontage of the house that I'm looking at, that's where I ran into my problems with those. Other ones, I didn't really have a major problem with because I know what you're trying to do, right? The other question that I have for you is exterior lighting. Are we doing anything with lighting on the outside of them?
Yes, at the doors,
at the
there's
doors?
exterior lighting, yeah.
There's a carriage light or something,
Here,
or a
yeah.
soffit light or?
Yeah, at the doors, and
Right.
then we're obviously gonna be adhering to the street lighting.
Street lighting plan, okay.
Yes, sir.
I just didn't know if there's any lighting off. I couldn't tell by the red.
There's not gonna be, we don't like put floodlights or anything on there.
Yeah.
We wanna have lighting for safety, but
Right. Don't want it,
I don't want a stadium.
I don't either. So, yeah, that I can see where the lighting is there, right? That
Yeah.
makes sense to me. But it's off the frontage of the house and just seeing I'll just call it a carriage light or soffit light, something
Yes.
that's gonna point them.
Our front door, all doors have, carriage light or something like that.
Yeah,
Where
so,
are the garages located that are not?
yeah, go back to the site plan, Ross. That's where I was going next, Sean. I wanted to see where those were too.
Because if I'm renting there and I rent one that doesn't have a garage, I would have the opportunity to rent a garage then, is that how that works?
Yeah, there's one for us at the far northwest corner.
So, yep, there's a garage right here, coming into the cottage court, right here, and right here, coming into the cottage court. right here coming into the cottage court and right here coming to cottage court. So they're all interior
Okay.
and on all of our private area
Okay.
and facing into the private, oh, sorry, and there's one more right here.
Yeah.
Facing, and that's all of them, I believe. Right here.
They go at the entrance to the cottage court to narrow that sight line down.
Right.
So that from the public street.
You're not seeing it.
You're not seeing it, right, yeah.
And you don't, it helps you hide the parking.
And that's available to anybody that is living within.
It's rentable to anybody within the community, yes, sir.
We anticipate the rest of the parking to either be within one of the units that has a garage that's attached or on street on the private streets.
And then you're showing a differentiation, although sometimes in the renderings it didn't show, between the base color and the trim color. There is a distinct difference between those two.
Correct.
I think that it just makes it look higher end when you got, they paint the same color. If they're not different, then it's, I don't know, just kind of,
100% agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
there's
checking.
21 different
Yeah.
configurations, all similar, more neutral tones, and all blend together. Not gonna have anything that's wild that stands out, but they all blend together and work to create differentiation.
Is there on-street parking currently on the public streets?
Yes.
There is, yes.
Okay.
There
I
is
couldn't
exactly.
picture-
Remember that.
I couldn't picture.
So I drive through there all the
those
time.
Streets.
It's a cheat to go over to all the reasons why I go over to that stupid hospital.
Yeah, we're looking at people potentially, and working with Ross and his team, we're looking at people potentially parking on the public streets as well, just as much as they will do inside. Obviously, we do need to provide enough parking for our residents within our development, but we do expect them to.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if my door were facing out that road and there's a parking spot in front, I'm parking there. For sure, I'm going there.
Okay. Most people probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think that those are going to be coveted.
Yeah, they will be. But it was set up that way to have parking like that on the street, so
Right.
that's not a concern really.
And I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
If I may, I wanted to have my architect talk about the stacked one bedroom to kind of, walk through everything, to try to answer any question you have.
The stacked one bedroom, you hit it right on the head. It's based on like a Charleston style, so East Coast, where you would have the front porch, you'd have the stair, and then the idea being that the bottom of that stair is actually within the fence. So the person that lives in the upper unit, they walk down their stair, they're inside their fence. And so there could be some more continuity between the kind of railing style that's along the stair and how that meets the fence that we have for the actual unit. And so it provides another kind of style of unit. But it's really supposed to read as like this kind of Charleston like side porch with and a continuation of the fence.
And my point is, if it was on the side, I won't have an issue with it, but it's the front.
Right, because we're trying to keep the front door on the street.
Right. I know what you see, that's my point to you, is that if it were turned or if it were on the back, I wouldn't even be asking a question about it. I'd be saying, okay. But now all of a sudden, I can't remember, you got 4 of those and 4 of the others. So I don't know, along the public streets, do I have to look at that as I go by?
None of these are on the public street.
None of them are on the public.
If you jump back to, sorry.
Yeah, right.
I think all those are all internal.
They're all internal.
Yes.
Yeah, so here are the stacked ones right here, right
Okay.
here. There's one right here. There's one right here, surrounded by units.
Okay.
One right here. There's one right here, but the stair is gonna be facing in, not down. Same, there's one right here. This is our private street. One right here. One right
Okay,
here.
so you're not along the public streets.
No, so the public streets are pretty much only townhouse looking, row house looking
Right.
ones that are duplex.
Okay.
That have the very different facades.
All right, so I have less of a problem with it now because of that, but I'm still gonna tell you, there are gonna be people hanging stuff all over those things.
Well, I will say benefit to us owning everything. We can control what can be
So that's a great question. So you guys are saying you guys build and then maintain ownership?
built, maintained, we're vertically integrated, so our management company celebrating 30th year
Right.
this year, so 5 years
So
from
what's
now.
going on with the Washington DC thing, which Sean called me about, and was all up in arms about you guys having to sell stuff after 7 years.
You're trying to hit a sore subject.
I know. I mean, he's asked me to get him in touch with every Concord person I know, and I know most of them, right? To
Yeah,
try to get him
so
talking
if you, I mean, if you want it, we can talk about it right now. So if you want the latest update
Yeah.
right now, Trump has wavered on his support of the bill, changed from about 2 weeks ago. He was in support of it. That's why the Senate was pushing forward hard on the House to pass the bill as is. His support has changed. He's not in support of it. Is not in support of the 7-year out requirement, and is not, and the lack of definition of what build to rent and single family is
Right.
not the intention of the original bill. The intention of the original bill was to prevent BlackRock from buying single family homes
Correct.
all over the
All over the
place.
place, right.
Now they are changing their idea of it right now. So either it's going to adjust, they're going to get rid of that 7-year out,
Right.
adjust and actually properly define what build to rent, single family rental is, which could incorporate like single parcel like we are doing. And could be, if you have 3 units, connected units, or something like that, they're going back to different language. Either they're gonna correct that language and properly do it, or if they can't do that, it'll die. It's expected to die by, if we leave July or August.
It's a horrible bill. I read more of it than I wanted to.
We have, I have never talked to lobbyists in my life until this is
Basically, it
going on.
makes things unfinanceable because you guys can't get an ROI in 7 years to make it worthwhile.
It would crush.
The other
half
thing
of-
it would do is enforce the current ownership to probably establish 20 separate LLCs to go back and rebuy it for $1 so that they can then, I mean, it's insane.
It would crush a lot of
Yeah, right.
development, right? It would stop, put a halt on all development right now. So.
All right, just
yeah.
wondering. I'm glad you updated me, but
If
that was
you-
a side
if you wanna
conversation
shoot me
Sean and I had. Not
Obviously,
this Sean.
obviously, we're
Sean,
very,
but
we're very involved. If you want to give me your card, I can pass on, I get updates. I had to just have a conversation, on the way over here. So happy to pass along updates.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, jumping back to this, also wanted to, and Casey and her team, I'm not gonna butcher the explanation, but, I'll start it off with the reason we have the varying facades with brick and not brick is because we really tried to go for that anti-monotony, scenario. We want to have variations, like if you have just the water table, all of a sudden you just have 100 houses that all have a water table. If you have brick on the front and you say you have to have this brick on the front, you just have 100 houses that have brick on the front. So Casey, will you actually talk about this and what all your team did to create the styles we have?
So what we did was, we did kind of a virtual walking tour through the historic neighborhoods of Indianapolis in the area, and found that a lot of the historic, the style that we have designed their cottages with is kind of this like craftsman style, leans that way. And so what was great about it was that we found we're located in Birmingham. A lot of the housing stock that's of that age that you have here is actually very similar to what we have in Birmingham. It's one of the advantages to using a style like that, because when you get to these historical neighborhoods, you find that you can make that connection back with the local context. So we went through various historical neighborhoods and pulled some inspiration images, especially with how to integrate the brick into what we already had for the Leo program. And what we found is that yes, brick is used a number of different ways, but one of the ways that was most powerful for us to look at was to put the brick on the porches, because it gets it right out there by the street where people are actually interacting with it. So initially, we kind of resisted putting it back on the buildings and doing the water table, precisely for the reason of like, hey, if we can get it out there on the porch, then people see it and you get, not credit for it in the sense of like checking a box, but you get credit for it with the pedestrian that's walking by it. They understand, they see it, they can touch it, they have that experience with it. So, but to Scott's point, like if we're using it the same way every time, then it just looks like it's an applied on thing at the end. So what we've done is incorporate a few places where we have a water table. We try to make sure that it's not always the same height, because we don't want everybody to be wearing the same pants. And then we have many places where we put on the porch, so it gets it out there in front. And then we have some places where we haven't used it all, just again, to try to incorporate the variety of style.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks, first of all, Kate, I appreciate you bringing up the staircase in the front, because I had an issue with that as well. It's good to hear that it will not be along the public street there. So, and Sean and Megan, thanks for your comments as well. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to approve with the two items that are listed here under staff recommendation. Megan's additional one to continue to work on the landscape plan. And mine that I'm going to add is that it's going to be restricted that we don't put one of those houses with the staircase on a public road. Thought it'd be easy when you told me where they were, so.
So we have a motion,
I'll second.
and we have a second by Megan. Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Baumgartner,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, the motion does carry. Thank you for that discussion.
Thanks for all your work with staff too, by the way. I think you guys did a lot of work with staff, so.
Thank you, John. And again, I want to compliment Casey and her team because it's some of the most inspired work that they've done on across the country. I think it's going into this one, so thank you.
Ross, staff communications? None? None? That's great.
We're adjourned.
We are adjourned.
So I've done a bunch of business